Brandon Fugal fires back at the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. We've got that and a lot more to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, so Brandon sat down with Patrick on Vetted and had some really interesting things to say, of course, responding to the whole controversy with Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. Here he is talking about the lovely right now.
And he goes on record with the New York Post stating that, number one, he'd never met me. He didn't even know who I was. He'd never met Brandon Fugal. Number two, he'd never attended a briefing relative to Skinwalker Ranch in his life. Number three, he stated unambiguously that he had no interest in these topics before 2022. And here we have a briefing in April of 2018. In April of 2018, we are summoned to D.C., to Washington, D.C., to provide testimony to certain committees where he was in attendance. And we spent 2.5 hours in that briefing. And I sat right across from him. I mean, we're talking eye to eye, right across from each other for 2.5 hours. And that briefing was 100% specific to Skinwalker Ranch. It had, I think, about 55 very detailed slides in the keynote presentation that also included video and data documenting not only the reality of the UFO phenomena and sightings and activity on Skinwalker Ranch, but also acute medical episodes that have occurred and the documentation associated with those acute medical episodes, as well as electromagnetic anomalies and phenomena that seem to attend much of the activity.
Okay, yeah, so Sean Kirkpatrick lied about all of that, which is not a surprise, but it is further confirmation that Sean Kirkpatrick is a disinformation agent, that he, in fact, deliberately lies about his own knowledge of UFOs. He's not just some bureaucrat that was put in a position that he didn't enjoy and he thinks UFOs are silly. No, he is deliberately lying about UFOs, and he still is in his position at Oak Ridge Labs. He's actually been just as outspoken, if not more outspoken, since leaving Arrow than he was while he was in Arrow. So, yeah, so I love it that Brandon came on Vetted. He had a lot to say. He's got more here. Thanks for this great breakdown by David Haith. Former Mormon missionary Brandon Fugal lost his faith prior to buying Skinwalker Ranch, but credits the events there for helping restore his lost religion. He said, "I went through a crisis, a faith crisis at a time before purchasing Skinwalker Ranch that had me questioning not only my faith, but really whether there was anything divine that you can believe in. I was questioning the foundations of the faith that I was raised in, that I taught to others, and it was a challenging time." He described his 8-year ranch ownership as transformational and had gone back and evaluated my faith. I've looked at what I believe and why I believe, having a renewed and I think very inspired point of view that has restored my faith in a higher power. I love that, because Skinwalker Ranch is actually what led me to eventually believe in the spiritual. It's what got you researching Skinwalker Ranch got me to take the paranormal seriously for the first time. I went out, I co-founded a ghost hunting group, did a lot of research, I had my own experiences. At first I was still thinking, you know, the paranormal stuff that people were seeing was somehow associated with aliens or alien technology, maybe other dimensional reverberations of alien technology, if I can say that word. Reverberations. There you go. I think I got it that time. Okay. Reverberations. There you go. Yeah, I was thinking it was reverberations of other dimensional alien technology. But in fact, what I found from my own experiences was that something else was going on, and that led me to Reiki and a bunch of other stuff, and now I have had many of my own spiritual or metaphysical experiences, and it all came from my research into Skinwalker Ranch. So I think that's really cool that is what helped renew Brandon's faith in his faith. I think that's really neat. But what about the Stephen Green Greenstreet controversy. Well, Brandon comments on that as well. There wasn't one person, he says, who agreed with me bringing him, Stephen, out to the property and even shadowing me for several days. Greenstreet's subsequent debunking hit pieces, according to Brandon, were neither scientific or had any journalistic integrity. Mr. Greenstreet unfortunately chose to not only avoid but completely discard any facts, any data that did not fit his negative narrative. To just summarily dismiss anything that would not support a negative narrative is nothing more than confirmation bias, and it's the same type of blind ignorance that critics accuse the so-called believers of having. It's a little bit frustrating, but it's par for the course. We're dealing with very controversial frontier topics, and it's no surprise that people take very different approaches when trying to process the reality of these topics. Indeed, yeah, the whole Stephen Greenstreet thing was unfortunate, and I applaud Brandon for being willing to bring him out there in the first place. But unfortunately, when you do that, you get these debunking hit pieces from people that have this cognitive dissonance that, predisposes them not to believe what is actually going on. Maybe someday Stephen will have an experience that opens his eyes, or he will, do more and better research into the phenomenon that will convince him. But until then, I will probably not be watching a lot of The Basement Office. Meanwhile, another government insider has been linked to TTSA. Tom was right. Once again, Galactic Troubadour says Steve Justice and Rob Weiss weren't the only high-level advisors from Skunkworks working with him at To the Stars Academy. In this photo posted by DeLong 4 days ago, the man on the left with Tom and Steve Justice is the Deputy Director of Technology Department and Integration for Advanced Department Projects at Lockheed Skunkworks, and a member of the United States Air Force Scientific Advisory Board. And that's this gentleman right here, Mr. Eric, name redacted from Galactic Troubadour, and he gives this reason in a minute. Eric is the Deputy Director of Technology Development and Integration for Advanced Development Projects, the Skunkworks in Palmdale, California. His organization is responsible for technology development and transition to all Lockheed Martin aeronautics programs, and it also manages the engineering workforce for ADP. Prior to that, he led the conceptual design group at Skunkworks. In his career, Eric has participated in the development of many different types of vehicles, from transports, attack aircraft, bombers, cruise missiles, reconnaissance vehicles, and helicopters. And Galactic Troubadour says, I have censored his last name because Tom DeLong did not provide it himself. Steve Justice's was already known, but it's public information that can easily be found via a Google search. And there you go. There he is right there next to Tom DeLong. Looking very sporty. So, yeah, another very interesting insider that may have UFO links. Of course, that's speculative. But come on, he's with TTSA and he was with Skunkworks. What are the odds that he doesn't have some sort of UFO connection in his career, right? So, yeah, very interesting stuff. A great find from Galactic Troubadour. Yeah, even Nick Gold and Claus are commenting on this and saying this is very interesting stuff. Meanwhile, check this out, guys. This is actually really encouraging from Chris Sharp of Liberation Times. He says, it is understood by Liberation Times that figures close to Biden and Trump were involved with the drafting and resurrection of the latest UAPDA. That is really cool. He goes on, regardless of who wins an increasingly dramatic election contest, if the UAPDA, the Disclosure Amendment, now called the Rounds-Schumer Amendment, if it's included in full within the final NDAA, it will be the responsibility of the next president to implement its actions. And Chris is saying that good news that figures close to Biden and Trump were involved in the Rounds-Schumer Amendment that hopefully will be included in the NDAA. Now, that's really interesting if both presidential candidates are involved or interested in UFO disclosure. I personally find that very encouraging, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Meanwhile, Prof. Simon Holland is talking about detecting alien technical signatures in space. And this is really interesting. There was a peer-reviewed paper talking about this. And here is Simon talking about the peer-reviewed paper.
On the 29th of April 2019, that's a bit after they first heard it, the Breakthrough Listen SETI project at Parkes Muryang Radio Telescope, that's in Australia, found data. You see, this is very interesting wording. In a narrowband signal, also very interesting, narrowband signal that is consistent with a technological alien signature in the 982 megahertz BLC1 band, where you would expect to hear something. Here in this paper, look at the description, we present how you would work out if it's real or if it's interference. You see, that's the point. I mean, it might...
Okay, so there you go. We don't know yet. We don't know yet if this is real, if they actually did detect some sort of communication in the stars or not. But there is a peer-reviewed paper talking about possible detection of this and how you can determine if this is legit or not. So yeah, this is early days in this story. So, you know, it's too early to say we've detected communications from the stars. But, you know, at least there are people talking about this in peer-reviewed papers. I love it. Meanwhile, remember that remote viewing that Anita Conan did on the Phoenix Lights? Well, she has this awesome video up on her channel taking you through the remote viewing, and she's using AI-generated imagery and some really great narration to take you through her viewing. Let's give a listen just a little bit as a teaser.
To build a small model airplane. The man at the desk feels no rage when he is working, though he has had thoughts about quitting this job.
Get out. I don't want my money. Get out! This place is about to go down!
Our object is a metallic gray device that can be steered manually. I find it indoors in a large room. The man is standing next to it. The object is not really big and is set on the floor of the room, kind of the size of a small tub.
It's really fascinating, and she does such a great job with all these visuals. It's very engaging, taking you through her journey with this viewing on the Phoenix Lights and interacting with this man who she could actually communicate with. I mean, he was actually responding to her as if she was there physically. It was just an incredible remote viewing. And a really interesting interaction. And I will link to this video, and I encourage everybody to go check out her channel and see her awesome videos. Meanwhile, check this out, guys. This is a communication that Peter Maxwell Slattery had with a ball of light. I love Peter. I've had him on the channel. Go check out the interview that I had with him a few months ago. He's a high-level experiencer, really good guy. Good bloke, I guess. Good bloke. He's from Australia. Okay, here is the communication that he received. This is awesome. Temples and their logistics with transdimensional stargates, time dilation and energy, healing and library functions will all be activated along with a temporal and hyperdimensional grid as humanity enters into a new cycle as they take their place among the stars, showing their true potential not just technologically but spiritually as spiritual beings, thus at the same time getting reacquainted with their inner technology, which is not able to be fathomed until the time of ascension is upon them. The choice for this elevation is up to the individual and the collective as to what scale this is done on. Wow, that's crazy. And it goes on. Galactically, from the systems of 13, the age of ascension, along with the 13 amongst the Milky Way galaxy, to those in Sagittarius and the Andromeda galaxy, a superluminal activation of the stars to their nurturing mother, father vortex points will be acknowledged by the children of the Creator, monitored by the Elohim, angelic and lords of light throne intelligences. thus a manufacturing and monitoring of the new realms of ascension and the many mansions of the new age will occur as the Creator in turn unlocks realms beyond realms yet to be explored for soul evolution. And it's got the subtitles over it. But yeah, there you go. And then it ends with this communication right here. A remembering will be taking place of your multidimensional nature in the realms of light and sound within Source. As the ones on high rejoice, so too will all living intelligences as they wake up to the glory of the divine Mother, Father, Creator spirits within the one that encompasses all that is. That's a beautiful message, Peter. Okay, and check this out. Speaking of interesting communications with beings, from Grant Cameron, Sherry Wilde's publisher asks Sherry to challenge her gray alien Daw, her contact, after he claimed to be from Andromeda instead of Zeta Reticuli star system. Now, I've talked about Sherry Wilde's story before. It is really wild. It is one of the wildest stories I've ever heard. It's incredible. And I'm not going to rehash it here, but it is a really, really interesting story. If you're not familiar with it, I suggest you check it out. You know, you can check out the video I made on it, or go listen to her speak or read her book. But either way, she was challenged on this point, so she asked her contact about it. And she said, I said, my publisher wants to know, are you a Zeta? Are you? What are you? Are you a gray? Daw, her contact, looks at me and says, that would not best describe the truth of who I am. I said, okay, well, then who are you? Where are you from? That's when he said, you know, I am a voyager of the universe going where needed in service to the Creator. I said, Sherry says, oh, okay, but you look like a gray. You know, you look like a gray. He says, well, that's just a suit that we put on when we come into your density to work in your world. We have a body to do the work that we do. I am what you call an etheric being. And that actually corresponds to various experience or accounts that I've come across. The idea that bodies, at least some of the bodies that look like grays, are actually just grown or built for other dimensional beings to come into. They don't look like grays, they just are inhabiting those bodies. And I've come across a good number of those accounts, so that's interesting. But she says, okay, I knew. I kind of knew that because I've seen him in that state. She's seen him in his etheric state. That was interesting that the publisher was able to get me to do that and talk to Daw about that. Yeah, so a really interesting communication with this being. Okay, but the story that you really want to know about is, what would I look like as a puppet? Well, now we know what I would look like as a puppet. This was sent to me by Tim Clark. A friend of his made this. I love it. Jack as a puppet. Oh, okay. Pretty sharp. I think the glasses need a little work. But otherwise, not bad. Last but not least, when zip lining goes awry. Look at this, guys. This is hilarious. I'll play the audio. Don't worry.
Yeah? I just clocked it straight in the face. Oh. What do I do about the sloth?
Don't worry. Where did she jump?
I don't know. Uh-oh.
You.
Oh, man. Do we just wait?
We just wait.
Yes, they just wait. Well, it started off very fast, now it becomes very slow. I love it. Let me know what you think about this amazing zip lining experience and everything else covered today in the comments below. And let me know what you think. Give me a big thumbs up and like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, links below. Buy a book or a t-shirt or a coffee mug in the merch store or the Amazon, a link below. Or you can become a channel member remember to support the channel. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate your support, guys. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.